So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's just that simple rule set. Like, we've always tried to have a rule set that no one could make an exception to. That's what gold was a proxy for. Like, no one knew how to print more gold, for instance. That's why it became money. Well, what is Bitcoin? It's just perfected that we have something. It's an actual set of rules for market competition that no organization, no institution, no individual can make exception to. So it actually empowers the sovereignty of the individual to the maximal extent possible. And we need it. We need a level playing field on which to interact. And Bitcoin gives us that.
Yeah, I mean, gold is great for a lot of reasons. The amount of gold it takes you to buy a beer today in Rome is about the same amount of gold that it took you to buy a beer in ancient Rome. It's held its purchasing power over time really well because there's no such thing as alchemy. You can't just make gold. You have to actually dig it up out of the ground. It takes a lot of work. There's a lot of proof of work involved. If someone has gold, it means they either expended a lot of energy to get it or they paid a very high price for it. But the problem with gold is, of course, it doesn't work in a 21st century digital economy. You can't email it. It's a dumb rock, right? So the fact that we have now something on the internet that requires energy to use is quite powerful. And I think that in general, we have to understand that what's happening now with our monetary system is that it's becoming much more political. So maybe like people here don't see the need maybe for non-political money because your bank account works fine and you have an easy ability to borrow, etc. But for a lot of people around the world, that's not the case. And if anything, the last 6 weeks in the United States have showed us that money is becoming increasingly centralized and increasingly political. As most of you probably know, today in the modern economy in the United States, the government does not create money. It creates some money, but most money is created by private actors, by banks. The thing is, like that money that they are creating by issuing loans is done in a market that's backstopped by the government. So the government now is now saying that they're only going to insure certain kinds of money. So if you run a firearms business or a marijuana business or maybe a Bitcoin business, maybe they're not going to insure your money. So like the money that exists that everybody uses is going to start to become very political. There's going to be deplatforming.
Because of those exceptions.
I mean, it already exists. I mean, we saw Operation Choke Point under Obama. Now we're seeing a new Operation Choke Point under Biden. So your ability to use money is a permissioned system. It's gate-kept. Like I help run a nonprofit, and we often are supporting activists around the world. And our ability to do that is permissioned. We have to like ask authorities if it's okay to do X, right? So if you think about the fact that we now have this new system where you can support anybody you want around the world and you don't have to ask permission, that's a revolution. I mean, it's a big deal, and it shifts power back into the hands of the people, which is to the point of the conversation. Bitcoin is money for the people. It's money by the people, and then in that sense, I think it's quite American, actually.
Yeah, power to the people. And just one more answer to the question, what is money, which Gladstein brought to mind. Money is a tool for moving value across space and time. Gold was really good at holding value across time because nobody could inflate its supply. So you could put purchasing power in it and you could expect to take purchasing power out of it, right? A fine man's suit is the same price today in gold as it was 100 years ago, as you mentioned about Rome and beer. The problem with gold is that it's heavy and physical, so we couldn't move it over space very well. So it was limited.
And governments centralized control over it and seized it, and they demonetized it.
By virtue of that technical flaw of gold, it gave governments the opportunity to centralize custody of it, violently, coercively control it. So what did we need? We needed a form of gold.
And just to pause you, 70 years ago, FDR made holding gold illegal in the United States. This is something that if like Turkey did this today, it would be an outrage. It would be like a huge human rights violation, right? The US did it 70 years ago, and gold was illegal for Americans to hold from 1933 until 1975. And coincidentally, April 5th, which is the day that FDR passed Executive Order 6102, was Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday. And 1975 was their birth year when Americans could hold gold again. So clearly like this was on the mind of the person who created Bitcoin.
Yes, Bitcoin was built for this very purpose, to prevent this core human rights violation of restricting people from owning the best tool for the job, which was gold. But again, gold's problem was it's heavy, it's physical, it doesn't allow us to transact purchasing power across a distance, across space very well. So what did we need? We needed currency. But what is Bitcoin?
Paper
Bitcoin's
promises
optimized
to pay gold.
Right. But Bitcoin's optimized for both.
Yeah.
Because you have a fixed supply, so it holds purchasing power over time perfectly well. And it's digital, it's informationalized, it's dematerialized. So you can move it at the speed of light across space. It's perfected. If money is a tool for moving value across space and time, then Bitcoin's optimized for both. It is the level playing field we needed to prevent government incursions.
And if we're just for a second, we can like praise fiat in a way, because like, look, it did something that gold couldn't do. It supported the modern economy. Gold was not able to satisfy global commerce because you have to put it on a ship. You have to, it's very clunky and it's just impractical.
Faster money.
So, pre-Bitcoin, I mean, of course we had to use fiat. Of course we had to use credit. But now we have like something that can do global instant digital final settlement, which is, I mean, it's going to change everything.